What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P. the Bluff Guy. Hey! And we are back with another One Piece reaction. And today, Tachi D Spins is going to be telling us about the final ancient weapon. And the title of this video is Why Was Nami in Weatheria, I can't say that, Weatheria, massively overlooked? All right, so now before we get into the reaction, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the theory at hand. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Whether it's with me or the video. Also, follow me on Twitch so you can catch me live and you can engage with me in real time. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And make sure you join the Discord. Come be a part of my community. It is probably the place I'm usually the most active in. And if you want to send me content to react to, definitely I have a submission channel in the Discord specifically designated for reaction content, right? And if it's not One Piece content, I'll probably react to it on like a chill stream or something. But if it's One Piece reaction, I'll definitely react to it on a One Piece reaction stream. Also, the link to this will be down below in the description box, as well as all these other things, right? So let's get into the reaction. All right, so like I said, today's video is by Tachi D Spins, and the title of this video is Why Was Nami in Weatheria, I'm gonna just say Weatheria, massively overlooked? Now, I want to say Lelougia, before Lelougia, well, this might have been like months ago, right? I've stated that I believe that Nami could potentially have ties with Uranus, because if you guys follow my channel a lot, my speculation on what Uranus is some type of weather control device, right? I've said many of times that when it comes to the ancient weapons, I believe Pluton is meant to destroy islands or whatever, right? Or it's meant to destroy the red line specifically. That these are the purpose. I think each ancient weapon have a specific purpose, and I think Pluton is meant to be able to destroy the red line, or it's like it's going to give the most firepower when it comes to destroying the red line. And then after the red line is destroyed, I think it could potentially lead to catastrophe when it comes to weather. Like, it could create an instability in the weather in the world. Why? Because I personally think the red line itself, I don't believe it to be natural. I don't think it was always there. Part of the reason why the island well are always trying to destroy it, because it's not meant to be there, right? So I think Pluton's purpose is to actually, cause most of the destruction on the red line. Poseidon, well, partially, the Sea Kings are going to have some relevance. Possibly pull in the Noah's Ark. Maybe it'll be some flooding in the world, so they got to bring the Noah's Ark to the surface, and so a lot of the humans could avoid drowning to death. Maybe there's some other purposes for the Sea Kings as well. And then Uranus. I think Uranus's purpose is some level of stabilizing the weather. Some level of stabilizing the weather. Now, after that whole Lelougia incident, I've been kind of questioning things, right? I've been kind of questioning things because I think that could potentially be Uranus. The thing, the weapon, the weapon that we seen destroy that specific island, right? So I don't know, but I'm still on the side that Uranus is some weather control thing, because it can still be a weather control machine and still have destructive capabilities as well. So I don't believe I'm completely wrong just yet, but I'm kind of questioning things. So I think a few theories I like I speculated before was possibly Dragon being Uranus and possibly Nami being Uranus, because we know Nami, she has her climate tech that kind of manipulates weather as well, right? And being a navigator, she almost has like you could say, like, if characters could have observation hockey that's in line with their personality, kind of like Sanji, right? Sanji could hear a woman cry from a distance. He could tell when women are in trouble. You can almost say he has an observation hockey that's in tune with women being in danger, right? And if just taking Sanji example, you could say Nami has could potentially have an observation hockey that's in tune with reading weather. Like she can tell if it's about to rain. Like she's always been like that though, right? So yes, it has never been stated to be hockey, but if she was to have some level of observation hockey, I could see it being in tune with weather. So I always thought Nami had a real close connection with weather, and because of that, and because of my idea that Pluto or Uranus could have something to do with weather as well. I always thought Nami could potentially have, could be connected to Uranus in a way. I've also speculated that Uranus could be a devil fruit, a weather control type devil fruit. I don't think now that theory I don't really believe anymore. Like, especially after the whole Illusia thing. But it was something that, me and another Discord member came up with at one point in time, that it could be like a weather type devil fruit, and maybe Dragon has it. That's kind of where the Dragon connection comes from. Maybe Uranus is a weather control, like a weather devil fruit, and maybe Dragon has the weather devil fruit, making him Uranus. Because when we look at all the ancient weapons, they're, at least the two that we see are vastly different. We know Pluton was said to be a ship, so it would be like a piece of technology, like an actual ship. And we know Poseidon is an actual sentient being. It's a mermaid. It's Shirahoshi. Two completely different things, right? One's a ship, one's an actual sentient being. So the third thing that me and one of my members came up with was, what if the third ancient weapon was a devil fruit? It's not a thing of technology, and it's not a being. It's a devil fruit. But again, I don't know how much I believe that one anymore. But that was definitely part of the thing. But yeah, so let's get into the actual theory. The actual theory. Let's go.
Underneath Weatheria seem familiar? Doesn't the giant bubble underneath Weatheria seem familiar? Same with the bubbles that they're growing. What if I told you that the world's government and even the Gorosei missed only a single group of researchers on their endless purge of taboo knowledge that remains alive today, still performing?
I do wonder, like, if those researchers from Weatheria, where Nami was, if they do know anything about the Void Century, right? I do low-key wonder that. Like, how much do they know, if they know anything? Do the Gorosei even know about their existence? These weather wizards' existence? Like, do they know about their existence, and what do they know? Do they know anything about the Void Century? Because who's to say that you can't learn anything from the science of weather about the past? You know, I think me and Parvision had a discussion. Like Parvision said in one of his theories about botany. You know, like he was talking about like learning about the void century through other means. You know, like we know archaeology, but he was talking about botany at one point. If you go back and watch his Vanderdecken being a mushroom guy. I forget what the theory is, but he's like some other thing. And he talks about like what's his name? Nolan, I think, was a botanist. I think Nolan was a botanist. And maybe Nolan learned a lot about the history through botany. I think this was this was kind of a chunk of Parvision speculation. But one thing he talked about is learning the history through botany or like other ways outside of just archaeology, like Robin, but maybe through botany, maybe through music, like Brooke with the whole Bink Saki thing. You know, if that is the case, and you can learn about the void century through other means, through other sciences, maybe you could learn through weather. You know, so if that is the case, I wonder how much do those weather scientists know? You know,
miracles. And Dr. Kureha was aware of the Buster Call on O'Hara and how all of that connects to what the last ancient weapon could be. It's your boy Tachi. Subscribe to increase my bounty. We're at 6,500 berries. Let's see if we can get to at least 10K. And this is my addition into the conversation of what the last.
Go subscribe to Tachi. Go show your boys some love.
Last ancient weapon could be, and how all of this connects to this little short dude here. So Weatheria was built by a group of scientists led by Haradas 67 years ago. Confirmed. The construction was completed when he was 30. The Birkin scientist, Haradas, was persecuted and then conscripted by the world government to do research for them on the naval bases between GR30 and GR79 of Sabaudi Archipelago. Haradas, being a Birkin, allowed his knowledge of Sky Islands and how the White Sea is formed to be implemented in multiple different ways throughout his research. As a result, him and his research team constructed the artificial Sky Island of Weatheria. The Weatherian scientists, not being permitted to do such research by the world government and world nobles, and Gorosei, forced them to create countermeasures to protect themselves and the knowledge that they've accumulated. The tattoo on Dr. Kureha should make a lot of sense now. They both knew about and what happened to other famous researchers throughout history. They just went different paths about it. And they were alive during the Buster Call on O'Hara. Haradas and his homies and Dr. Kureha didn't want to end up like Dr. Clover, who was an archaeologist, Willie Caron, who was a physicist, and the St. Brice that had set sail.
So in order, are you saying to avoid, possibly to avoid the wrath of the world government, they created Weatheria, right? In order to stay out of the world government's reach? I'm not sure if that's where you're going with it. Maybe they are fugitive and they're just trying, or maybe they want to be able to do their research in peace, and the only way they can do that is if they're out of the world government's reach. Which I don't know. I don't know if that would be out of the world's government reach, because especially when they got like somebody like Vegapunk, I don't see why they couldn't like go to Sky Islands and, you know what I'm saying, do whatever they need to do with some type of form of plane or air balloon or something, you know what I mean? Like get there somehow, you know.
over 200 years ago in the One Piece world, and even Mont Blanc Noland, who was a botanist, with his return to the Levenel Kingdom 400 years ago.
Hey, I'm glad you confirmed that for me. Nolan Mont Blanc was definitely a botanist. Because I know Parvision said it. And, you know, so, yeah, you kind of confirmed that for me.
Dr. Kureha is the inverse to Haridas, because she was a doctor who made the decision to work for the world government at Enies Lobby. Zoom, enhance, zoom, enhance. Tell me that thing does not look like fucking Enies Lobby. And now again, she serves underneath a royal who attends the reverie and is therefore a...
I mean, I could see some aspects. I could see some aspects of it look like in this lobby.
Zoom, enhance. Tell me that thing does not look like...
I mean, you know, a little bit, I guess. I guess you could say a bit. It does a little bit. It has some in this lobby looking characteristics. I wouldn't say it looks just like in this lobby or anything, but it does have some characteristics of it.
Fucking Enies Lobby. And now again, she serves underneath a royal who attends the reverie and is therefore a part of the world government institution with King Dalton, who attended the reverie, by the way, while Haridas hid and fled and continued his study of meteorology. Observation aside, Dr. Hiraluk will always reign supreme in this thematic parallel here. The world discredited his ambitions
when a bullet from a pistol pierces his
and
heart.
efforts, despite his results always turning out like shit. But irrelevant, Sakura leaves still bloomed on the Winter Kingdom, making a fantasy real.
I will say this though, this specific moment, you probably shouldn't have had him talking, because now it's like hard to decipher between what you saying and he said. It's kind of like cluttering together, like him talking and you talking. Just gotta add that.
Knowledge like men only die when people forget them. The consistent theme of censorship in One Piece shows up over and over and over and over and over again. Between the age of 30 and 15, Haridas was conscripted. How do I know this? Well, I just told you. There is an unwritten rule in One Piece that if you are researching something and you are not permitted by the world government, then they'll just have you outright killed or launch you into orbit for 2 centuries. But if you weren't making waves with your discoveries throughout the world government didn't care. Dr. Kureha is the perfect example for this. 4 reveries and 3/4 of a year ago was when homeboy Haridas and the boys constructed Weatheria in Sabaody Archipelago in order to research the resin bubbles from the mangrove trees. Chopper points out, even in the anime, that between the roots of the mangrove is just pitch black. He couldn't see anything. It isn't a stretch at all to say small land masses formed between those roots. Making sense now how they solidified bubbles? If sea stone prism is partially made from pyrobloin in the clouds of One Piece, it would be safe to say researchers could find different applications of it. Robin even notes that the resin from the ground is sticky before it becomes a full bubble, implying some importance to that substance Robin rubbed off on Usopp. The Weatherian scientists built an artificial island that...
It look like jizz. It should look like jizz. Like when you get jizz on your hand and you got like, God damn it. Let me wipe this shit off somewhere. Give me a sock or something. Except Robin wiped it off on Usopp though. That's foul. That's foul. Just imagine somebody just in their hand and then wiping it on you. Come on now.
Floats above storms to avoid world government contact. And Kuma still sent Nami knowing it was there. Kuma also sent Frankie to Vegapunk's hometown. More on that on a following video. Regardless, Kuma must have had knowledge of where the scientists had fled to, since, once again, Nami was pushed there to a moving, artificial Sky Island. This was on purpose by Oda and Kuma. And what did Haradas do?
Yeah, you gotta wonder, man. Like especially if Kuma, like, if Kuma like purposely sent everybody, all the Straw Hats, where they went. Like, how did he pinpoint that out? Like, how did he pinpoint Weatheria to be able to send Nami there? Has he been there before? Is it kind of like, when you look at, what's the name from Naruto? Naruto's father, Minato. Minato, yeah. He can pretty much teleport wherever one of his kunai is. Like, if he throws a kunai somewhere, or if he just leaves a kunai somewhere, he could teleport there at any point in time. So, does Kuma have like some type of like imprint in these locations, or is it just like, if he wants to send you there and it's in his mind, it doesn't matter where it is, he's going to send you there? Like, I wonder if we'll get any explanation on how exactly Kuma is able to send you at a specific location, regardless if it's like a mobile type situation like Zoe. Like, could he just send people to Zoe regardless where it's at, where its current location is? Can he send you there without any, like, just easily? I'm curious.
To cheer Nami up, he showed her wind knots. The proper art of tying wind knots to control or influence weather in real life dates back to the 13th century and is attributed to the wizards of northern Norway and the witches of Shetland. The witches and magicians gathered air from mountaintops, trapping varying intensities into the knots tied in rope or string. Sailors purchased the magical knots during an expedition, and they would untie.
I'm low-key kind of mad that Nami ain't shared this technology with Usopp, though, because I feel as though Usopp could use this technology as well, because Usopp, like, he could integrate this with his sniper stuff, maybe use, like, some wind ammo or something. I think it'd be dope. I think it would be a little dope. Even though I get it, you want to keep this type of weaponry exclusive to Nami. I get it. But yeah, so I wonder why she ain't share with Usopp.
A single knot to call up a gentle breeze, 2 knots for a half gale, and 3 to summon a storm. This real world parallel implies an economic system, and the bubble bikes on Sabaody seem very familiar, don't you think? The significance of this one scene shows us probably how the Weatherian scientists fled the world government, but also how they knew they were being persecuted. Haradas was Nami's tutor during her training arc. He was 95 years old at that time. He definitely would have known about, or at least heard rumors of, the Buster Call Anohara, especially since he originates from the Sky Island of Burka and probably knew Gonfall. These dudes are the only living group of scientists dedicated to any practice that are not allied with the world government and are still alive. That's why
So they're from Burka. Are all of them from Burka, or is it just the one from Burka? And where's his wings? Because we never see those wings. I mean, I guess he, there's been, based on Enel, they've ripped their or removed the wings, so maybe he did too. Maybe it's just kind of hide his true identity, or not his true, like, hide what he is, because maybe down on the earth, Skypeans aren't so welcome, I mean, when you think about it, like, the mermaids are usually caught and enslaved giants as well. So I wouldn't see why Scorpions wouldn't be treated any different on the Earth. So maybe hiding the fact that he's a Birkin would, prevent stuff like that, But maybe also, maybe Scorpions are just or like races like Sky Island races. Maybe they're discriminated against, kind of like Lunarians. Like King, we know is the last Lunarian, and if you just like pretty much like tip the world government off to the existence of a Lunarian, you'll get paid with like with money. Not even like a bounty where it's like you gotta capture them and give them to the world government. If you just tip them off, that's like I want to say 100 million berry payday right there. So it shows you how much like Lunarians are like how much the world government are looking for Lunarians. So it could be the same for like the other sky races as well, like the Belkans. So maybe like those scientists, they were trying to hide the identity of their race away from the world government, so the world government doesn't come after. But that's if the other sky races are looked at similarly to Lunarians, because we see Aruj, and Aruj, he's on the surface all the time, right? He was in Sabaody, Kizaru even pretty much kicked him, and he is not like he was like, oh, hey, make sure you go capture that guy right there or anything. He didn't treat him any special. But if like sky races were treated like similar to Lunarians as well, like the other sky races, I could see Kizaru saying, hey, get him because he's a Birkin. So yeah, definitely make sure you get him.
Weatheria is an artificial island. It's to protect the study of weather, because Uranus controls the weather. Watch till the end to see how and why. They literally traveled around the Grand Line using their windknots if things would get spotty, but they're just traveling around helping towns and villages with groundbreaking technology. Again, I point to the bubble bikes on Sabah.
Talking about helping towns and stuff, I wonder why they never went to Alabasta. Like, go to Alabasta. They like suffering from droughts and stuff. Like they had that long ass drought where we see Crocodile talking about rain, like what was that, dancing powder, which like could summon rain, but it was illegal. So, which I wonder how much that's connected to Weatheria, right? Did those scientists create that dancing powder where you could start rain? Or was it explained who created that dancing powder? Like, did they explain who created that? Does it have ties to Weatheria? Because I'm curious why those scientists never go to Alabasta and go help them out with their drought problem. Because I'm pretty sure they would have the science to help. Just saying.
They look a lot like waivers from Sky Islands, which Haradas originates from. Sky Islands exist on the White Sea, as broken down by Pagaya. Ships can sail on the White Sea and can descend into the Blue Sea by reaching a place called Cloud End. It's located in the Far East. And that is also not true, since Luffy was sinking in the White Sea after playing around on a waiver. Important note, remember that for later. Bars. So how did the St. Brice fall down after exactly 52 reveries in the past? There's even a map of the Grand Line inside of the fucking ship. This was 200.
Damn, Tachi. You gotta watch your language, my guy. Damn, bro. You be cursing like a sailor out this mud. Tachi got the mouth of a sailor for real. Let's go.
108 years ago, Weather is used to explain what happened. This would not be a stretch at all to say that his pursuit of science, and particularly meteorology, the interdisciplinary scientific study of the atmosphere that focuses on weather processes and forecasting, ended up with him discovering the mechanics behind the final ancient weapon, Uranus, which is a sky deity in real-world myth. Let's look at how Mont Blanc cricket explains the knockout.
That is facts, though. That's definitely facts. Uranus is a embodiment of the heavens in the sky, if I remember correctly. It's not exactly a god, but I think there is the Titan. There's a Titan named Uranus, if I remember correctly. Or hold on, because Uranus is is like the original Titan, I think, but he's kind of like the embodiment, or he's like one of the. Or, I don't really remember how the myth go, but he's like the embodiment of the heavens and the sky and all that. So yeah, and hence why I've been championing that Uranus has something to do with weather, because it has something to do with the sky. And when I look at a weapon that is connected to the sky, I look at something that has to do with weather, right? And I speculated Uranus possibly being on the moon, and there's so many speculations I made on Uranus, because it's still like the most mysterious ancient weapon. But yeah, I still do believe that whatever Uranus is, whether it's on the moon, whether the world government has it, whether it's that thing that we seen pretty much wipe out Elusia, I still believe that Uranus can control weather. It might have some destructive, based on what we've seen in Elusia, it probably has some destructive capabilities as well, because weather does have destructive capabilities. And if you look at what happened in Elusia Island, it doesn't look that different. I mean, it looks a little different, because there are some qualities of the attack that does look a little different than what we seen from Enel on Skypiea when he wiped out like that town or whatever from like a distance. And we know Enel is electricity or like thunder and all that, right? So the attack looks similar. The attack on Elusia looks similar to that attack. So it's, again, it could still have some weather controlling qualities.
Upstreams and see if there's a real world equivalent to really cement that the One Piece world was ridiculously fucked with beyond the Void Century. Mont Blanc refers to something called Millennium Cumulonimbus, or if you read it in its Latin, 1,000-year heaped rainstorm. And obviously it's in the name. That derives from cumulonimbus clouds in our real world. They're described as very dense, towering vertical clouds, typically formed from water vapor condensing into the lower troposphere that builds upward, carried by powerful, buoyant air currents. Above the lower portions of the cumulonimbus, the water vapor becomes ice crystals, and the interaction can lead to hail and to lightning formations, respectively.
And here is today's science lesson.
Specifically, when recurring as a thunderstorm, these can be referred to as thunderheads. Cumulonimbus progress from overdeveloped cumulus congestus clouds may further develop as a supercell. So what's a supercell? Well, it's usually characterized by the presence of a mesocyclone. Here's a diagram of how a mesocyclone works. Mesocyclones form when strong changes of wind speed and/or direction with height sets parts of the lower part of the atmosphere spinning in invisible tube-like rolls. The convective updraft of a storm then draws up that spinning air, tilting the roll's orientation upward from parallel to the ground to perpendicular, and causing the entire updraft to rotate as a vertical column. As the updraft rotates and ingests cooler, moister air from the forward flank downdraft, it may form a wall cloud, a spinning lake.
I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of information. It's kind of losing me, man. I mean, as far as like the explanation of how this cloud is formed, and there's just a lot of scientific information that I just, you know, it's like when you see those memes or you got all the math and stuff, and they're confused. They're like, it's just like the math going on in the background. They're trying to figure things out. That's how my brain is working right now.
Lowered from the ambient storm cloud base under the mid-level mesocyclone. The wall cloud tends to form closer to the center of the mesocyclone. As it descends, a funnel cloud can be formed near its center. This is usually the first visible stage of a tornado. Now, if you applied the same principles to water, well then, you'd get a knock-up stream. And severe water erosion would account for the landmass reformation that Cricket mentions here. This could also explain serpent currents, the flow of hot and cold, yin and yang. Haradas always knew he had niggas preying on his downfall. He knew about knock-up streams and how they were developed and their function since they were around during his life on Burka. And he became a meteorologist to figure it out and stumbled on the technology behind Uranus's construction. Therefore, he pieced out with his homies from Sabaudi Archipelago, where he had been working with some like-minded individuals after leaving Burka over 67 years ago due to world government persecution. Most likely tipped off by Gonfall. More on that in an upcoming video, so subscribe if you're picking up what I'm putting down here. And now they travel around, permanently changing the weather of islands. For example, drought-ridden islands, they just give them rain. Refer to the cover story of
yeah, man, like Alabasta. Where's the rain at for Alabasta? Alabasta like, hey, run me my rain. Weatheria, run me my rain. Let's go.
555 and 556, all in order to protect the technology that may be used to make Uranus, thanks to this beautiful exchange here. But tell me your takeaways. Am I saying that this named Birkin, out of all the other unnamed scientists, knew that the Gorosei did not want research into anything involving the natural world of One Piece?
Call them boys swag daddies.
Without their careful supervision? Yes, I am saying that. Comment down below. Fight me, bitch.
Language.
Doesn't the giant bubble...
Language, my guy, language. Come on now, we gonna give Tachi a like though, definitely. Link will be in the description box, so y'all go show Tachi some love. Man, I just had a thought, right? I just had a thought. It's a little on topic, a little off topic. But it's like, you know, we talk about location of ancient weapons, right? We know Poseidon is in Fishman Island. Pluton is at Wano. But then we think like, where could a location of let's say that whatever that thing was that destroyed Lelusia Island, let's say that wasn't Uranus exactly, right? Let's say that was something else. Maybe a devil fruit power from Eem. Maybe a weapon, a new weapon they created. Where could it be? I was thinking like, where could Uranus be? In I remember there was an island. I can't remember what the island was called. I think it was like Rasian Island. I think they name. I think it had a name. I'm not too sure, but I think it had a name like Rasian Island. And it was that island that we see where it was like lightning. It was just. I think it's in the New World. It was like a lot of lightning, you know. And I'm thinking like that lightning with that lightning. What if the reason why it's always lightning on that island, like dangerously lightning, because it was like Uranus was stored there. You know, I don't know. I definitely had to like this video just made me think of that. Like, let's say Uranus is kind of like a cloud, right? Like it's kind of like Weatheria. Let's say it's like Weatheria is just kind of because this what I got from this theory is Weatheria could be like a copy of Uranus potentially, like maybe a proto like it was them copying the technology of Uranus, right? Like that's what Weatheria is. So I'm thinking like, what if actual Uranus is kind of like Weatheria is, where it's like a cloud made of technology or something, I don't know, and it's above Rajan Island. Thanks, Tachi. It's above Rajan Island. So I don't know. You know, I'm just going off of the idea that what we've seen at Elusia is not Uranus, so that means it's not within the world government's possession, unless the world government recently found it. Maybe they found it at Rajan Island or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with where Tachi's going to a degree. He was throwing a lot of science out at me, man, which was getting a little confusing for me, bro. Getting a little the science with the whole cloud and the swirls going up. I got a little lost right there. It was just, I felt like I was in the class, and I'm like, hey, I'm lost now. I'm lost. But it wouldn't, I don't think it would be a stretch to think that those scientists in Weatheria learn the technology of Uranus, possibly, right? Like, they're scientists, right? So it wouldn't be a stretch to think that through their science, similar to O'Hara, where they learned a little bit about the Void Century, that maybe they came across something and they learned a little bit about the Void Century. Except Uranus, because if Uranus does have something to do with weather control, I would think that's their door into learning more about the Void Century through Uranus, you know. But yeah. I think there's could be something to it that maybe these guys do know more than they may have credit for knowing, and they may know something about Uranus potentially. You know, they may have the juice when it comes to Uranus. So yeah, y'all, that is the video. That is the theory. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe. Hit that bell for notification. Also, follow me on Twitch so you can engage with me in real time. I do these One Piece reaction streams. I do it to videos. I do it to Reddit threads, whatever, you know. But if you want to come be a part of the discussion, join the Twitch. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And join my Discord. That is usually where I'm most active at. So if you want to engage with me while I'm not doing streams, come be a part of the community. That's going to be the best place for you guys to reach me at, is my Discord. And you can also send me content to react to, One Piece content. I'll react to it on a One Piece stream. Any other content, I'll react to it on like a chill stream or something. And the link to this video that we just watched will also be in the description box, as well as all my other socials that I just dropped to you guys. So yeah, it is your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and I'm out of here. Y'all have a good evening. Peace.